Sal, people love to tune in on Fridays to hear about what is going on with the soccer mom. She's there outside corruption headquarters at One Police Plaza. How you doing today?
Yeah, well, it's funny is as we're coming on air, besides what's going on at One Police Plaza, which I'm going to get to something else that happened too, because it was the big Luigi Mangione reveal today that he pled guilty apparently to federal charges. But I just got wind of, first of all, I guess Minaj disappearing. Kudos to Burnett Hogan. She works for the Daily News, I believe. She put this up. Minaj Shapiro, infamous for being an Eric Adams crony, is now working for Bruce Blakeman's campaign. So there's your kiss of death. He's going to actually go backwards in the polls. And apparently there's a Winnie Greco sighting. You know, Mrs.
Cash
I
in the
put my
bag.
hand. You remember her, the cash in the bags and
The
the
chips.
potato
She's
chips?
handing out potato chips with hundreds of dollars stuffed in there.
So it's just, I don't know. Look, politics is it is like the WWE. So you wonder why. I mean, I thought she was still under a federal investigation, but
We
here
should
she
add
is.
no relation between you and Winnie Greco. It's
No,
funny, she doesn't look Italian.
no. Not only is there no relation, but I wonder why she would be seen at political events while being under a federal investigation. Because pardons are sold. I guess the governors could sell pardons too. I mean, this is so corrupt, and just that's why people are like tuned out of things, right? Because they're dealing with things like that. But now back to what's going on in the police department. So what happened today, what we found out today is I had of course, every Friday there's usually a Friday fiasco from me. So today's fiasco was centered around a detective. This detective, her name was Rosani Santos. Now, in her illustrious career, which hasn't, I mean, it's about 10 years, she was working at first the Department Advocate's office somewhere in Queens also, and then she ended up in the Bronx Special Investigations Unit. From the Bronx Special Investigations Unit, she was as bad as it gets, apparently, in the street. She got a 2.5 evaluation. Jason, that would probably put you on, you have to be evaluated. You have to be on what they call monitoring for being
Out of
low
10?
standards.
2.5 out of 10 or what?
2.5 out of 5. Very hard for any cop to get a 5. I was at 4.5 all the time. That was my average, 4.5. If you're at 2.5, you are below the average, and the standard is 3.0. That would put you in monitoring. But she didn't get kicked out, Jason. She should have been kicked out of the unit. She should have went to the precinct. But lo and behold, allegedly, who's saving her? Your favorite
Soccer mom.
limping, disgraced former chief of department. He's limping around currently on
Oh,
Newsmax or wherever he is.
wait a minute.
So
Shell? Why is he saving her?
he saved her at the time because she somehow, Jason, remained on the books as a SIU investigator, meaning she's in special victims. I mean, she was in special victims, but she was in what's called the sex offender monitoring unit. And what she was doing is taking pictures.
Of
That's all
what?
she was doing, Jason. There's no arrest. There's only taking pictures. And today, Jason, she was promoted about a month ago. She's now a detective for taking pictures, which would alienate everyone. And here's the other story of this. July 4th, if you remember that night, that's the night that the soccer mom's driver, Elaine Santiago, allegedly took the only truck that there is that the police commissioner drives in and hit a bicyclist. And yet we're still arguing over whether it happened. You didn't hear anything about that, right? That same night, there was a shooting, if you remember, in Brooklyn. And what happened is the detective, Carroll, who was a week away from 20 years and retirement, he gets sent to a detail from Manhattan, is told to have to go to Brooklyn after doing all day in Manhattan for the 4th of July. And then that infamous shooting took place, right? Remember the shooting that they said it was some teenager? It ends up being that it was friendly fire. And he was in the vicinity, we working with 3 rookies and a 10-year veteran, which is her. And the infamous round that was fired is allegedly coming from her. And the soccer mom knows all of this,
Oh.
yet she's a detective. She gets promoted. And it's the knock here is, Jason, the reason you're seeing what you see in the police department is incidents like this and instances like this. How is this person who's clearly a 2.5 they cannot be in a unit, let alone be hidden in the same unit while working for a different unit? And I just want to reiterate that the sex offender unit is not an investigative track. Nobody becomes a detective out of that unit. It's a dead end.
But isn't
Yet,
that a more important, like higher level crime? Don't you have to be like an elite, kind of high
yes.
performing
Well,
police officer?
to get a detective shield, you have to be on an investigative track. And this person was not on one, but yet somehow has a shield. So this is a crony, and it's really bad because its detective bureau is just falling. It's imploding in itself the way it's being run, whether it's Scott Monroe, the president of the DEA union, the chief. Oh, here's another thing too that happened. So the executive officer was this guy named Chief Fernandez. He was working out of One Police Plaza. So he's the second in command. He's underneath Chief Kenny, who's the chief of detectives. So apparently he doesn't like this guy, or I don't know, some kind of punishment. He flip flops with Chief Levon Holly, who's in charge of the Detective Bureau under the citywide banner, right? And he has an office in Manhattan. And they made a big deal about what he was doing or not doing in that office in Manhattan. He was like remodeling it. So Chief Holly is now the executive officer of the entire Detective Bureau. Chief Hernandez was bounced out of there for reasons we don't understand, other than it was just decision by Chief Kenny. So there's a movement in the Bureau, and they don't put these out so that you know, because remember, transfers and all that stuff now say confidential. So people like you and me are not allowed to know about it until after the fact. But I still know. And that's what's going on in the Detective Bureau as we speak. And Levon Holly, I told everyone months ago, will become the chief of detectives at a certain point, or second in command. And here he is. And, once again, Sal Greco's show is on the money with things, whether people like it or not. I also want to mention.
Wait, you're going a mile a minute. We got a lot to discuss. First
Yeah,
of
I
all,
know.
the detectives, they're the ones who laughed at me on the phone when I tried to call in what looked like human trafficking at the Walcott Hotel. But let's just.
Conto frito.
Well, let's stay on Rosani Santos for a second, because I don't know if you know this, Sal, but FBI Investiga, a detective Dominicana. Let's just read this in English for a second here.
There's
The
Levon
FBI,
Holly, yeah.
they're investigating, this is 4 years ago, Dominican detective with the NYPD for involvement in a shooting in Queens while off duty. The shooting occurred November 8th, Brookville Park near Lansing Avenue. And this was, the federal authorities are investing if Detective Dela Cruz, 30, who joined the NYPD in 2014, was involved. She's mentioned in here somewhere.
The name Rosanny Scott Santos.
Here she is.
Rosanny B. Santos. There you go.
NYPD's YouTube channel, police spokesman Carlos Nieves explained what happened without identifying De La Cruz because he was off duty, and said that the Dominican officers Victor Hicano and Rosani Santos also
Yeah, she was in 100 Precinct. You're right.
but were in uniform. So she seems to be everywhere that shootings are happening.
Well, that incident happened in 100 Precinct, which she was also assigned to. And in that article, also see the name Levon Holly, who is now the executive officer of the entire Detective Bureau, which I said he was like a rising star. He's going to be there whether people like him or not. I mean, you may not like what he does, but a lot of people do like him as well. And he does his job, whether you like it or not. And lo and behold, he's now the executive officer of the Detective Bureau. But this incident, remember, Jason, she had this incident. Then there's this other incident with this shooting. They're not telling you, but now this detective, I mean, what's messed up is he should have been retired already, but now he can't because it's like a 3/4 injury. I mean, I don't know how severe it was. He got hit. He was let out of hospital, but you have to understand, you have a bulletproof vest. You take a bullet on duty and you take it from your own. It's a friendly fire. Because remember, it was from behind, meaning that's how you know, because apparently this bullet came from ricocheted or whatever off the vehicle,
Are you
and
wearing, when
everyone's
you were
pointing.
walking around as a police officer, did you have a bulletproof vest on every day?
You have to, yeah.
Wow. It's heavy,
You
isn't
have to
it?
have. It's gonna be it's gonna be very hot right now because it's summertime if you have one on. But I mean, thankfully, Detective Carroll, he had his vest on and it didn't go through and nothing
Still
crazy.
hurts though,
But
right? It's like getting
it's
hit
gonna
with a
hurt.
bat.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is he shouldn't even have been there because he's not in an He himself is not in a role to be on the street doing this crazy stuff when he works on solving cases. So he's on another level as far as detective. Some people don't get sent out to certain things because they're busy. They have to go and interview people. Like they're actually solving major crimes. By throwing them into this rotation, and you had the incident that occurred. And unfortunately, now, not only do we have that saga, we have this other thing that happened with this latest part that we know how this person even got promoted and what's going on in the Detective Bureau. And I did want to, this is an excellent piece, by the way, because people don't realize is this Peter Tear tax is back on. What people don't realize is if you claim a home as a primary residence in New York City, did you pay New York taxes? Because now they're going to come back around and hit you for that. You're actually getting double banged, whether you realize it or not. It's more of, it isn't just the mayor. This is a grand scheme from the state. So if you were claiming primary residence, or now you're about to claim primary residence, the state's going to come and ask for their
Oh,
taxes.
so you're saying people who previously could avoid New York State tax by saying, well, this is just a second home, and now they don't like the second home tax. They're like, all right, fine. So you're going to pay tax. And wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
I
you
mean, they're
this
getting you.
This is how they're going to get you. I broke this down. I break down a lot of things on salgreco.com. And this stuff, people don't even realize if you weren't playing it straight, and this is for people that have more money, obviously. There's one guy, I believe, he's a Wall Street guy, $14 million home or something, and he was only there 8 times. So if he's claiming this is a
Wow.
primary residence now, they're going to say, well, $14 million, 6% tax, you figure out how much that is that
You
you
know
owe.
what, though, Sal? So I guess it was Jack was arguing that, oh, Mamdani's not a
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
socialist.
Yeah.
Forget about terrorist. Socialist. What I'm saying is, okay, look, I think when eggs are $8 and gas is $5, people like, hey, billionaires pay more money. But here's the thing. If this guy owns a $14 million apartment and he's never there, he's buying it as an investment. Maybe he never goes there. He figure he buys it for 14 million. He's going to sell it in 5 years for 20 million, whatever it is. That type of transaction, you're not getting that in Newark. You're not getting that in the middle of Idaho. That type of financial opportunity exists in New York City and draws super wealthy people to New York City. And the idea is they're going to go to restaurants. If they sell it to some millionaire person in the future, they're going to hire people to work on it. They're going to buy mink coats and diamond rings and whatever. And the people who work in all those services providing all that stuff get money, and it brings money to New York City. If you tax that stuff, eventually what happens is all of those people move out of New York and it becomes a city like Detroit. I was recently talking to somebody who's a crowdsource the truth viewer who lives in the suburbs of Detroit and grew up in Detroit and made a lot of money in Detroit. And when this guy, older than me, was a kid, Detroit was like the center of manufacturing and technology, not only in the United States, but in the world. Cars and everything was going on there. Now it is a husk. Nobody wants to live there. Nobody wants to buy real estate there, open a business there. It destroys the city. So long term, I'm very concerned about policies like these. I don't think it's good.
I don't think it's good either. But again, I think it's designed so that they get their money one way or the other.
I'm
It's
saying it's going to
designed that way.
ultimately lose them money because if these super millionaires were living here, they're going to buy a Ferrari here and park it in a garage here and pay somebody to wash it and go to dinner, and you're not going to get that anymore.
No, I know, but that's how they're seeing it. That they've been getting away with not paying their taxes on their homes. I could see how they're trying to go about it. I just don't know how successful it is, other than the state can come back around now and whack you saying, oh, that's your primary home. Oh, and then you owe all those taxes and whatever. So it's actually an almost ingenious move, but it comes from the governor, really. This is a governor.
Almost.
This
I
is a
like
whole,
it. You could be
yeah,
almost
almost.
genius. A fine line between genius and stupid.
Yeah, this is a Wile E. Coyote, supernatural genius. But another thing I was going to get to is this Luigi Mangione today. He pled guilty, and I was one. Listen, I understand. I don't know if he's actually the trigger man or whatever the case is with that case. But I remember when this happened, this guy ran to Pennsylvania. They're the ones that captured him, by the way. And even that is a little murky how that all went down. Look at this. Why is this one? This is what I'm trying to get at. Why is the police commissioner at a federal hearing for a federal case?
And why do government employees feel the need to display religious artifacts? I don't like that, whatever the religion is.
For me though, she's at this thing, and this case, whether people like it or not, it never went that far apparently, because they're trying to say now it's double jeopardy, which kind of is, but they paraded him around as if this was, you just found Juan Pablo Escobar, and he came with a 30. So just so you know, the city, you taxpayers, you paid to have him escorted from Pennsylvania to New York in a plane, or not a plane, in a helicopter, right? And he had all, first of all, they didn't even shackle him at that time. You know how much money it costs to do that and have all these detectives and all these sergeants, everyone there? And of course, who was there at the time? That at the time, he indicted Eric Adams, the only perp walk he's ever done his whole life, because he never did one as a cop. He was there. And then they went on a show with the esteemed Chief Kenny, along with Soccer Mom was in the news, and they start talking about this case and releasing information that the defense did not even have yet through discovery or nothing. They did not provide. They just announced this. It wasn't even in the case file yet. That's it right there. This shot cost a ton of money and he's not even leg shackled. This shot cost so much money. They would only do this for a high risk suspect or a high risk perp like Juan Pablo Escobar,
so why did they do
drug dealer.
Here's FBI, JTTF. Why did they do that? Because he's
because
popular.
This was an Eric Adams. This is a show trial. This is Eric Adams stuff. So I think this guy, I don't know why he pled to anything, when I think in a case he could argue that they dirtied the jury pool. We've seen that in other cases like Flynn and Roger Stone and all these other cases, right? They dirtied the jury pools completely against you. They do it by this perception management business, which they made this guy look like. All you're going to remember is here he comes with 30 people surrounding him. He's guilty, he's evil, he's bad. The way they even got the evidence was questionable, how that all went down, because then Kaz Dordry showed up over there, which is a whole nother subject. The whole thing from top to bottom reeks of O.J. Simpson.
Oh, but I got a question, Sal. This guy, I mean, he allegedly 3D printed some sort of makeshift weapon, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's pretty sophisticated. I mean, much more so than buying or stealing or getting a gun. He's printing a functional gun. Think about that. You have to have access to specialized equipment. You have to know how to use 3D modeling software and be a mechanical. It's something of a genius thing to be able to do. And he's at once a super genius like Wile E. Coyote, but yet he's sitting around in McDonald's with all of the evidence in his backpack. How does that make any sense?
For me, it's not about, I understand that I don't know if he murdered the guy. I mean, he said he shot. Now, I guess today he was, but I am saying that this case, the precedent that's set here is that they could do what they were doing to him, where you're already looking at someone, we're telling you he's guilty. Why? 30 people have to carry him in. Jason, I'm just going to tell you the procedure. They've done this so many other times prior to this. They literally will go, two detectives go in an unmarked car. They're authorized to go and pick the person up and drive them back themselves. They
Yeah.
have shackles, everything,
Yeah.
because this
Why do
is
they
how
need to
it's done.
fly him from Pennsylvania? It's not that far.
What the heck? Exactly. So you are dirtying up a jury pool doing this. Whether you like this guy
Turning
or
him
not,
into a celebrity.
beat beat this guy in court, prove that he's the killer, prove your case, and you win. You think you have a slam dunk case, you do that. Not, we're going to perp walk him. Didn't the police commissioner, Miss Soccermom, that is a complete catastrophe as a police commissioner, didn't she say on live TV, I know it wasn't him because I know that his chiseled look
It
and
didn't
his
look like him, she
eyebrows,
said.
she said that.
I
But you
know.
can't, so what is the police commissioner doing discussing a case that you
She's
have
an
no,
idiot.
so these are people that easily could be deposed. So I don't know the strategy here. I mean, he's got great attorneys. And again, I'm not condoning if he is the killer, that's what I'm looking at, the legal precedent that we're setting here, because there are people who literally aren't guilty of what they're trying to do, and they do these witch hunts like a Roger Stone, and then you're going to see the avalanche of all the, we're going to do all this stuff to basically get in your head. Perception management. He's guilty. He's a liar. He's this. He's that. We're going to muzzle. He's not allowed to speak. We're going to gag him. Oh, we're allowed to go on TV. And then we're going to present the evidence that not even the judge has seen, but that's going to basically say he's guilty. Oh, here you go. And maybe his attorney doesn't realize that, because there were clear violations of procedures. And this had the makings of an O.J. Simpson, where they bundled, that trial was all about chain of custody evidence. They just messed that up, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here, how that they went out of order and a sequential order and a sequence, and they did it for what? Social engineering. Eric
Well,
Adams is a
we need to
hero. He
talk
went from
about that
indicted to
more,
hero.
Sal. We need to talk about that more because there's also, there was that big debate with Candace Owens where they're talking a lot about another guy who everybody has basically convicted before there's been a trial. And I want to talk about this. It's interesting that Luigi Mangione had this plea deal today. We're going to be back in a few minutes. People can join us on thesalgreco.substack.com, also on Crowdsource the Truth. Substack.com and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. But I want to talk to you about plea deals because look, this whole debate with Patrick Bet-David hosting Candace Owens and this guy, Andrew Wilson. I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, Candace won the debate. I agree. She did make more of an argument, more of a successful argument, but I'm not so sure that she won because who the hell is that guy? I never heard of that guy before Candace Owens debated him. She elevated his profile tremendously.
I didn't even watch it. I haven't seen this.
Well,
I don't know.
The point is, that guy was saying, a lot of people have said this, a lot of social engineers. Benny Johnson had a whole video where he was saying, Tyler Robinson has admitted that he killed Charlie Kirk.
No, he
And that
didn't.
is vastly different than entering a plea agreement where you plead guilty, because we know, certainly from the public testimony of Jerry Corsi, who is jammed up in the same Russiagate nonsense that Roger was, that they tried to get Charles jammed up in, they told Corsi, here's the plea deal. Doesn't matter what you actually did. If you agree to say I did X, Y, and Z, then we'll do this. So when someone enters into a plea deal and pleads guilty, it is not the same as an admission of guilt, is it, under the law?
No, the plea deal. So what you're doing is
sorry. It's not the same as a confession that they did the thing. That's what I mean.
No,
they're pleading guilty.
People plead guilty for, there's a lot of things. Things get costly. Things, you're
Right.
you're in jail. You have medical issues.
You're going to go to jail for life. We could get this down to 10 years and parole.
Yeah. So there's many outside reasons why. I mean, you have to ask them particular or their lawyer why they're doing that. But it's different from saying I'm going to plead guilty to whatever it is, whatever this could be, because there's a deal made, versus I'm gonna confess. I confessed this
Confess
prior
to
to this.
doing it, right?
Which,
So let's do this,
if,
Sal. Let's stop here. We'll be back in 5 minutes. We're going to continue talking about this, but this is a big deal that Mangione has entered this plea deal and that the soccer mom is all over it.
I would be, I want to be more inclined to think the actual debate that should happen is Candace Owens against Laura Loomer, and the loser gets put in a straitjacket and goes straight to the hospital. I mean, I think that'd be a great idea. And no Trump pardons. No Trump pardons.
We'll be right back. We could discuss.